Shalom and welcome once again to Treasures of the Torah. I'm Pastor Matt McEwen, and this week our Torah portion is Terumah. Now, we are getting down to it. We are gathering the stuff together. We are making donations. We are going to build the tabernacle. God's presence is going to dwell on earth with his people. This starts a fascinating narrative in the wilderness. Now, last year in going through the Torah with you, I explained about, and this is not where I'm going today, this is just a little bonus, just a bit of fun that we can have with the Torah here. I mentioned to you last year that there is the hide of a certain animal that is mentioned in Hebrew that is called a tahash. Now the tahash, according to Jewish tradition, is an animal that went extinct. In fact, according to some rabbis, it came onto the scene. It was created at creation, but kept away from the human population. It was sort of stored away by God, but then was sort of released onto the scene when the tabernacle was going to be built so that its hide could be used in the building of the tabernacle. And then after it was available for that, it went extinct. So in other words, when it needed to show up, God allowed it to, and when its purpose had been served, well then, God allowed it to go away. The reason I'm having such fun with this is the tahash is said to have a multicolored hide, and in some commentaries it says that it had one horn. A unicorn, perhaps? Could be. Some rabbis believe that that is the case. This is where unicorn legend comes from. Could be. It's an interesting thought. As we look at Terumah this week and they're gathering these things, let me read to you what it says here in verse 8 at the beginning of the Torah portion. They shall make for me a sanctuary from those materials. When they do, they must specifically intend thereby to infuse holiness into these materials. The purpose of the sanctuary is so that I may dwell in their midst. Now, as I've told you in previous weeks, I'm doing a series here where I'm reading through the Kehot Chumash, where the commentary is in line. It's sort of interlinear within the Torah. And so we get this sort of expanded view with the commentary built in. So it's fascinating. Did you catch what it said there? The people are specifically to infuse holiness into the materials. Have you ever thought about that? Can an object, an inanimate object, be holy? Absolutely. It says here in the commentary, they shall make for me a sanctuary. When the people donated the raw materials for the tabernacle, they were required to do so with the intention that these materials be used for holy purposes. The intention served to transfer the materials from the donor's ownership to God's ownership, so to speak. When the artisans fashioned the tabernacle from the raw materials that were donated, they were required to do so with the additional intention of transforming these materials from mundane to holy objects. This is something that I would like you to think about. Whether you are a person that works with tools, whether you're a person that cooks for a living, whether you're a person that works with your hands and does something artistic, the things that we work with can be used for the glory of the one that we work for. If we are truly working for the Lord, then even everyday objects can be infused with holiness. Think about this. I am a musician, but when I take my musical instruments and I say, Lord, I am giving these to you, they are no longer mine, but they are yours. I'm handing this over to you. And then when I begin to lead people in worship with a particular guitar, so to speak, what I'm doing is actually infusing that guitar with holiness because I'm using it. I'm setting it aside for a holy purpose. I'm saying it's no longer my guitar, it's God's guitar. And that, brothers and sisters, is a powerful thought. If you help someone on the side of the road that is broken down with your tools, wrenches and sockets and a jack, a tire iron, if you are helping someone, if you're doing that with God's intention, if you're doing that out of God's love as a mitzvah, a wrench can be used for a holy purpose. That's exactly what happened with the tabernacle. The tabernacle is a a portable tent, but it was a holy place because it was imbued or infused with that kedusha, with that holiness, as God allowed the artisans to do that. It is set aside for God's special work. What do you have in your life that you can infuse holiness into? What is there in your life, a tool that you might use that could be used for a mundane or common purpose? But when you do it for someone else, you might have a pot in your kitchen, but when you make soup in that pot and take it to a sick person, you are now using that pot for a holy purpose. Let us begin to look at our lives in this way, that everything we touch, everything that we use, can be used for God and therefore be given a holy purpose, a holiness about it. Thank you for joining me this week. I pray that this has been a blessing to you. Shalom to you and your family.